He shot bam, 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 and like he didn't stop until his clip was empty.
At this point, there was a shooting incident. That's the detail we're getting.
Massacre at Virginia Tech, the deadliest shooting in U.S. history.
The gunman killed 32 people, 15 others were wounded before he turned the gun on himself.
We threw a table up against the door, and sure enough, 2 seconds after we threw that table against the door, he was at our handle trying to get in, pushing against the door. Then he started firing.
You heard the clip hit the ground right outside our door. He reloaded and started again.
Two gunmen wearing black trench coats and masks opened fire at Columbine High School in this suburban Denver community.
They started blowing up and shooting everyone in the cafeteria, and then you could hear them laughing and running upstairs.
Then 17-year-old Jamie Rouse walked into his Linville, Tennessee high school looking for revenge.
I guess I blamed school for my problems. That's where I had my most misery. And I was just so filled with, hate and anger and this evil.
Unbelievable event that has happened today, the worst shooting in the history of this country.
Campus security professionals try to find common threads.
It's just utter shock how anybody could do this to anybody else.
We're learning how it happened. But will we ever know why?
Good morning, Tigers. I'm Mr. Taylor, Assistant Principal and Coordinator for School Safety for Hamilton Southeastern Schools. As you probably are aware, the state of Indiana requires that every school in the state conduct a lockdown drill each semester. A lockdown drill may be initiated for a number of reasons, but it's important to note that any time a lockdown is called, it is due to a dangerous situation that is either outside the school, perhaps in the community, on our campus, or even in our building. This morning, I'm going to talk to you about two types of lockdown procedures that we use, and when we use them, and how we will execute them.
The first type of lockdown is a perimeter lockdown. A perimeter lockdown is called due to a threat that exists outside of school. This threat has the potential of impacting Fishers High School. For example, a nearby bank robbery or a chemical spill on I-69 could lead us to call a perimeter lockdown to keep us safe. To initiate a perimeter lockdown, we will use the PA system and/or email alerts to notify staff and students to remain inside the building and close and lock all classroom doors. If a class is outside, such as a phys ed class, they will be called into the building. No individuals are allowed to leave or enter the building during a perimeter lockdown. Normal classroom activity and instruction will continue as usual during a perimeter lockdown. The second type of lockdown that we use is a maximum lockdown, or simply we will call it just a lockdown. A lockdown is used to protect us against a dangerous situation that exists inside the building. Unfortunately, events around the country and even close to home have made us re-examine our lockdown procedures. Recently, you may have read in our school newspaper that our school district is adopting new lockdown methods from a program called ALICE in an effort to better prepare ourselves against violent acts or violent intruders. ALICE is an acronym for 5 steps that you can utilize to increase your chances of safely enduring dangerous circumstances that exist in the building, most likely a violent situation. The A stands for alert. We have to alert everyone in the danger zone as quickly as possible so that they can take appropriate measures. Immediately notify a staff member when a dangerous situation exists. Be sure to tell staff members the who, what, and where the danger is so that they can respond appropriately. The L stands for lockdown. Based on the alert information, we can use a variety of options. In lockdown, go immediately to the nearest room, even if it's not the class you should be in. Listen carefully to the instructions given to you by the staff member or on the PA intercom system. Classroom doors will be closed and locked. The rooms will be made dark by turning off the lights. The door windows should be covered and you should move away from the door frame. Spread around the room, stay low, and be quiet. If decided by a teacher, You should help barricade the door with desks, chairs, and other movable furniture. The teacher may even have you evacuate the room to safety. We will discuss this more momentarily. The I stands for inform. The decisions and options that you and staff members will make or use is dependent on real-time and accurate information. For instance, if a lockdown is called, every effort will be made to give you why it is being called and where the danger is located. You may hear an announcement like this: lockdown, 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 there's an armed intruder in the A hallway. Once you hear this type of announcement, you will have the information needed to either barricade your room, or if you are on the other side of the building, your teacher may lead an exit or escape from the building, which we will talk about momentarily. The C stands for countermeasures. If the room you are in is breached or is likely to be breached, everyone in the classroom must do everything possible to protect themselves. Violent intruders are expecting and even counting on you to do nothing. Therefore, you will have the element of surprise. Look around the room right now. Is there an alternative means to escape? Do you have another door you could use to run through? What items could you use to defend yourself? Are there things that you could throw at the head of the violent intruder in order to disrupt and distract him so that you could escape or even swarm to take control of him? If you do decide to swarm and take control of the intruder and you happen to secure a weapon, be sure to place the weapon in a trash can so that police responding to the scene do not mistakenly think you are the violent intruder. The absolute last thing you want to do is nothing. It is accepted that these determined violent intruders seek one thing, and that is to do as much harm as possible before the police arrive. We no longer want to merely sit helpless in the dark while waiting for the police to arrive. Instead, we have to be mentally and physically prepared to take action. Finally, the E in Alice stands for evacuate, exit, or escape. This should always be an option to get you as far away from the danger as possible. Based on the alert information, a staff member may decide that this is the best option to protect you. If you do evacuate the building, remember to run with your hands in the air so that law enforcement do not mistake you for the violent intruder. And always follow law enforcement instructions if given. If you exit on the north side of the building, closest to 131st Street, run to one of the two elementary schools across the street. If you exit on the south side of the building, run to Billericay Park or the nearby church and await emergency responders or staff members.
When a lockdown is called, this can be a very frightening and worrisome moment, but it is very important to act in a way that keeps you safe. It is also important to remember that the 5 ALICE steps are not necessarily an ordered or prescribed set of responses that you must do. You may use 1 or 2 parts of the plan, or you might use all 5. The situation will dictate the responses, and your safety and welfare is paramount. We are not asking anyone to attempt to try to subdue an armed intruder outside of your secure area. Instead, by implementing components of the ALICE program, we feel that you now have some more common sense options to use that can be applied to greatly enhance your chances of remaining safe in the most dangerous of times. Thank you for your attention.